Welcome to the eVoto AI Edge podcast, the show where we dive deep into the world of photography, business, and cutting-edge AI technology. If you are a photographer looking to streamline your workflow, boost your productivity, and grow your business, then you're in the right place. Okay, let's have a look here. Right. Ben Hartley.
Hey.
So good to have you. I've been a big fan for a while, and I really like the way you approach just the business side of things. You know, I found that with so many creative people that I meet, the creativity comes so easily, but the business side is a bit difficult. But the way you think about business, it really transforms a lot of people's lives. And thank you for that, mate. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you. We ran into each other. How long? I mean, I'm actually curious when you were over on the podcast, the Six Figure Photography podcast. Like, I mean, was it 5 years ago or was it more?
Yeah, it was pre-pandemic. So yeah, definitely 2019, maybe even 2018. But
that's wild.
Yeah, a lot has changed since then. And I think that obviously a lot of people have said the industry's changed.
Sure.
But business principles stay the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's true. They adjust, like there's always, the tactics always change, but like by and large, I mean, running a local sustainable service business hasn't changed that much, man. Yeah. And I think that's probably where a lot of people will get, I think we just get confused too easily. I think the marketers are too good at making us look all the other places, to sell us something here and here and here and here and here. And a lot of times, if we just kind of slowed down, we just realize, oh yeah, this is the stuff that's always worked,
When was the point that you realized that? When was the point that you kind of did a repositioning in terms of realizing that what you were doing potentially wasn't working as well as it could have? Was there a moment when you realized this is a real business and I need to run it like a business?
Yeah, I think, I know. For me, that's, I realized this when I came to the conclusion. My wife helped me come to the conclusion, I should say, Brett.
Yeah, we know that feeling.
That someone was paying the price. And it wasn't my clients. Like, when it comes to kind of repositioning the business that I had and starting to treat it like a business, starting to price myself in a truly profitable way, I think for the longest time, I had this idea that like, well, I don't want to ostracize. I can't even say that word. Anyway, audience, I want to make sure that I can provide for everybody, and well, they're friends, and well, what if they can't afford it, and what if, what are they going to think? Or are they going to tell me I'm too expensive? And I'll just do this for them. I kept always creating compromises, right? And someone was paying the price, and it just wasn't ever my clients to start. And it wasn't even just me. I think a lot of us out there are like, no, it's fine. I'll pay the price. Like, I'll take it. But maybe it is just you, and maybe you're willing to take that hit. But like for myself, like my wife was paying the price. My kids were paying the price.
Yeah.
My family was paying the price. My friends were paying the price. They weren't getting a full version of me. They were getting this drained, beat up, soon to be burnt out version. And then I was having them pick up the slack in different ways. And I think once I started to actually take ownership over that fact of weighing the costs, I recognized that like this has to change, right? Something has to shift.
So in terms of shifting, obviously you adjusted a lot of things in your business, not only the pricing, because, when you talk to photographers and you tell them you need to elevate their price, you can't just do that because, like you said, you are going to alienate your existing target market. But you do need to move out of that middle market mentality. I've watched your podcasts lately, perhaps in the last 6 months or so. I mean, your webinars where you're talking about that bell curve,
Yeah.
and in terms of the averages, could you just expand on that a little bit?
Well, I think a lot of people they don't want to be cheap, and so they're like, well, but I can't reach this higher end of the market. So I'm going to price myself in the middle. But with the bell curve, if hopefully you all can visualize a bell curve. You price yourself in the middle, but that's also where like 95% of the market is pricing themselves. It's where the most competition is. It's where the most kind of petty back and forth nitpicking undercutting is. And not only that, but the clients who actually will pay you more, they're not going to pay you. They're not going to hire you. They're going to, if they've got a $10,000 budget and they see that you charge $4,000, I'm sorry, but they're not being like, oh man, I'm going to save 6,000. No, they are going to go spend 10,000 on somebody who is willing to charge for it. And they'll be so happy that they did too. They'll be grateful that they did. They're going to get a better experience and have a lot more trust and a lot of risk removed in doing so. And I think there's this idea that, well, if I charge $4,000, the person who has the $10,000 budget will hire me. They won't. They won't. You're just going to be stuck fighting against this Red Sea. I say Red Sea as in like, it's like when sharks attack and the water is red and it's so competitive. And so being priced in that average space, you will oftentimes always be looked as average. You'll be the average photographer to clients, you'll be the average photographer to vendors, the average photographer to wedding planners, the average photographer to, well, just about everybody. And so at some point we've got to make a conscious decision that I'm no longer willing to remain average. Unless you are, by the way. If you're happy, I'm happy. Like that's the other thing too, Brett, right?
Yeah.
Like some people are so happy there. And if that's you listening, I am so happy for you, right? Like this message is really if you're like, no, I actually aspire, I want something more. Like I want to do something else. This message is for them.
Yeah, and I think the way you speak about pricing yourself to get the client, what I always talk to photographers about is that you are not necessarily your target market. Just because you want to save $6,000 doesn't mean people who want to spend 10 want to save or need to save that extra money. So one of my favorite lines when I first start talking to photographers is that you are not your target market, and you have to start thinking a little bit differently in terms of what your target market is expecting and what they are prepared to pay for with regards to the value that you are providing. And we'll talk about value in a little bit now, because I think that your Maslow's triangle and pyramid is just the most genius thing to think about pricing. But I do understand that increasing your pricing, a lot of photographers struggle with confidence because they do feel that they are going to lose clients like that. How do you coach your photographer students? When I say students, I know that they full-time and they also they're still students, but how do you coach them in terms of shifting that mindset to have the confidence to believe in their product?
Well, the confidence to believe in their product, oftentimes you've got to get outside of just redefining what the product is. I think a lot of times the reason that we have such low value around what we do is because we've isolated the product to just the clicking of the shutter and the delivery of some great pictures. And if you're even going to exist in business, you have to take great pictures. I think there was probably a period, Brett, where like taking amazing images, like that was enough to just like set you apart. And now it's like, you've got to be able to take amazing pictures just to get someone to talk to you. It is an expectation, right? And so the value isn't just in the pictures. Like the value is in understanding that you are the meaningful difference, that the results that you produce are different than the product. And let me try to explain it this way. Like the results that a product produces is different than the actual product. Cause there's like, so I'm in an education space, right?
That's
and
good.
There's a lot of There's a lot of like photography education products, right? So I have one, it's called Book Solid. Other people have other things, right? And so like there's the product, and the products are very similar, right? Here's a course on how to get clients. Here's another course on how to get clients, right? But the results that they produce can be so dramatically different. And if we started to actually, I guess, pay attention to, maybe like really pay attention to the results that we're getting people, like the transformation that we can create for somebody, internal transformation, or even connection with the people that they say matter most to them. If we start to really like get a hold of that and recognize, whoa, like I'm not just giving the images. I'm not just producing a course, right? There's actual results in the side of that. I think we've been pricing ourselves very differently. And so I think it's helping photographers to like take ownership over that, right? That there's so much more that we're doing. I don't know if that makes sense. If that was
No,
too,
it does make sense. It makes so much sense because, like you said, taking great pictures just isn't going to cut it anymore because there are so many people taking so many amazing images and so many, different styles out there. But I think what you're providing for, and what you've done is also practice what you've preached. You've created a demand instead of chasing something else. You've understood what somebody wants to buy instead of what you want to sell. And I think that's also really important. So if you take it back to the education space, there are a lot of courses on how to get clients, but are there a lot of courses on how to give clients an experience and understand what the difference is between a good and an average experience, and a great experience? Because one of your favorite lines, and this really resonates with me, is that people don't know the difference between a good and a great photo, but they do know the difference between a good and a great experience. And I think that is key. So could you expand on what a great experience is for a potential client? I understand that you can say to somebody, you need to give someone a great experience, but yeah. What is a great experience?
Well, just to give some credit there as well. I think I heard that first from Pi Jersa over at SI. I think that's where the first person, he was on my show, and I think I heard it first from him there. And I've just continued to shout it. So maybe I'm shouting it louder now. But I definitely heard it from Pi. I think when it comes to client experience, this is another one of those things that, I don't know. I think photographers have this idea in our minds that in order to give the greatest client experience, we need, like, it means spending a ton of money and doing a ton of like big gestures and all these things. And maybe it's just because I've been married for 15 years, but I've discovered that like Valentine's Day, where we go out to dinner and I give the present, like that isn't the thing that has created a great marriage. Like it's not even like a top 10 moment kind of a thing in regards to Leslie's and my relationship. And like your clients aren't any different. It's the freaking little things that make the biggest difference.
Yeah.
And this is another one that if we just got ownership and started to think about this and take control over it, it would shift how we view our client experience. Like I'm here to say that I think a random text, just a thoughtful text out of the blue, directly to a client, letting them know that you were thinking about them because your kids were just watching SpongeBob. And I don't know. And there was a scene that made them think about something that they said because they met, and I don't know, and whatever it is, right? And yeah, you add a little SpongeBob GIF in there. Who knows? I think that actually carries greater weight in the impact that it can create for someone than you sending a little box of cookies. I truly do.
Yeah, bang on. You know you're talking about that with clients, but I think it's the same with every relationship, right? With friends, with your spouse. I mean, I know if you're listening right now, just send a text to your spouse and just say, "I'm thinking of you." Yeah. You never know. You never know. Maybe that person's just wanting to hear that from you at the time, and it is those little things that make such a difference.
Yeah. Hey, well, let's level it up. Don't just send the text.
Okay, here we
Send a
go.
voice memo.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, I'm about to, I literally, this is going to get meta. You ready for this? Hold on, I don't think I could. I think it disappeared. Ah, dang it. Okay, so my wife, there's a picture of her. She's actually in her first day of work today.
Ah,
She just
fantastic, man.
started teaching, and so she's at her first teaching assignment today.
Ah, that's
And
amazing.
I just sent her a voice memo right before I started this saying, hey, I'm about to head into the podcast with Brett. I
Yeah.
just want you to know I'm thinking of you. You're just going to be like the absolute, like the kids are going to love you. They're just
Yeah.
going to love you. And just letting you know I'm thinking of you. But it's an audio message. That was my point. It was I was going to play the audio message. It's going to get weird. Ben sending showing his personal messages on air.
Yeah. Yeah.
But an audio message, because it's your voice. It's the connection from it. It's you can actually hear heart. You can hear care, you can hear tone. There's empathy that comes through that. Your voice has even more value than reading the words written on a screen. And so use your voice, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is a great point. And I think that we do get caught up in our own worlds that perhaps we don't need that, but you need to also understand the love language of your spouse or your friend or your clients even. I mean, the way I look at clients, I do a lot of things outside of the area of expertise as a photographer. So one of the things that I always say is that you need to become an expert outside of the area of your area of expertise, which is photography. So learning about things like people's love languages and things like that, especially when it comes to clients. So when we're talking about an elevated experience, almost I'm asking you for almost for a go-to guide, because how is it going to change on my website? Because if I've got a form on my website saying what date are you getting married, I'll send you a quote. How is that? How do I change that to an experience rather than somebody filling in a form? I can't show them what the experience is going to be like with me through a form on a website.
Mm-hmm. Is there so? Uh, are you asking? I want to make sure I'm answering your question, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
are you asking like, what do I do? Even on my contact form, or what do I do after they fill out a contact form, or maybe I'm missing the question. Can you help give me a little direction
Sure,
on what
no,
you're looking for?
no worries, no worries. Once I've got the client, I can then obviously implement everything and make and elevate their experience. But
Yes.
how does the client know that the experience with me is going to be different than the experience with David, the photographer? How do
Yeah.
they know that, like right off from my website or the forms or my Instagram?
Yes. Okay. I got you now. So I think there's a few ways. Number one is the way that you present information on your website. You are positioning yourself one way or another. There's this concept of positioning, and positioning is like, why would somebody choose you over somebody else? It's like a specific type of branding that is positioning you against everybody else, all the competition, right? And you are positioning yourself some way. You just might not know it. And if you don't know it, you're probably not positioning yourself very well. But so your website is communicating something. And right now, Brett, we are in the most, I would say we are in the most trust heavy, trust needy, risk averse market than ever before.
Okay, yeah,
We have the highest level of risk intolerance
yeah, yeah,
with
yeah.
our clients. And so our website needs to be creating so much trust. And you can't wait until you get the chance. Here's the thing. I hear from photographers all the time. Ben, as soon as I meet with somebody, I have a 90% close rate, right? Got it. That's great. The problem is you're not even going to get the at bat if your website and your processes aren't communicating trust. One of my favorite quotes that I think I've said is the fastest photographer to earn trust is the first photographer to get booked. That is the market that we live
Yes,
in right
absolutely,
now. So
absolutely.
your homepage needs to communicate that through really intentionally telling your target client exactly who they are. You need to tell them, hey, I am for you. Like this is who I'm for. This is what you're going to receive. This is how it's going to impact your life, like right on the homepage. And this is the problem when you're like a headshot photographer and a newborn photographer and a boudoir photographer all on the homepage. I'm not saying you can't do all those things, but it's really hard to communicate one message that builds trust to one person when it's all on one page, right? We got to separate these things out. So it's your copy and it's your images. Your images need to back up the copy. Like, for example, Brett, if I say, this is my favorite, right? Authentic, natural, storytelling photographer. Like that's right there on the homepage. And then the image right next to it is like a couple posed and they're posed in the most Pinterest posed way, like dip kissing in this really like stiff manner. And it's a disconnect and it creates distrust. So if a client lands on a page where they don't know if you're for them, they don't know what they're going to feel or receive from you exactly, distrust. If your copy is disconnected from your imagery, distrust. If they don't see a picture of you looking at them, and I mean, I listen, I love my emo. Okay. I'm an elder emo. But I see so many photographers that they just want to be so moody in their pictures on the website. They're like looking away, black and white. The camera's covering their face. It's like so dramatic. Listen, your clients, they're going to spend, if we're talking wedding photography, they're going to have you next to them for like the entire day. They don't want some moody, in their feels, like socially disconnected person. Unless they do, by the way, unless that's your brand and that's your people, then cool.
Yeah.
But maybe my people don't. And so I want to show my eyes. I want to show my smile, like looking at the camera, like, hey, this is just me. Like that creates trust. I think inviting people into pricing right on the homepage, it creates trust. I'm not afraid to talk price. Here's where to actually get that information. So like those are probably the biggest things immediately. And then on the contact form, my first step, one of the first steps, I won't get too nitty gritty with this, but when somebody fills out the form, first off, they're going to be invited into a next step. I think a lot of photographers' contact forms just go to like a thank you. Like it's just a automatic default, like, thank you. Like that's it. It just, the page just recycled and that was it. Like that's an opportunity. Not only is it an opportunity, it's almost an obligation.
Yeah.
Like you just had the hottest lead fill out your contact form and you're just like, the next thing you're going to do is just have a little text that says like your form has been received. Like that's what we're going to do with those people? No, it's like when they fill out the form, like this is an opportunity now to connect. This is an opportunity to, maybe there's a personal video from you, just like vertical video phone. Hi, I'm Ben. I'm the person that you just filled out a form to contact. Like maybe it's that. Maybe it's a fun little GIF with, you just did this. Here's what's going to happen. And then here's the next steps. Connect with me on Instagram. Send me a DM and let me know you just filled out my contact form. I'd love to actually talk to you there. And then I can actually DM them. Like now we're already escalating the conversation. So,
and they know it's coming directly from you. So there's your trust element. Yeah.
Yes. I'm getting really practical with it. I hope that's okay. I was getting a little
no. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, for so many people, when you say to somebody you need to elevate your client experience, they're like, yeah, great, but what does that actually mean? Everyone's got their way of doing it, and I really like the way that to set that up takes maybe half a day if you don't know what you're doing from scratch.
Yeah. These are all things that I think if you isolate the thing, you could totally just like straw man argument it. Like, well, that doesn't matter, Ben. Like having a picture of me on the homepage, smiling, looking at the camera, like that doesn't matter. And I get that. You can totally say it doesn't matter. It's just that there's a, and I can't put any real science behind it, but there's an odd compounding effect that takes place. Like maybe isolated, that alone is like, it'll increase conversions by like 1% or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But it's that with the copy, with the design, with the font, with the structure, with the page layout. It's like it's 1%, 2%, 2%. And it starts to compound though. It becomes the entire shift that like, again, once you hit this, like this critical mass, almost, it shifts everything. And so I get that that isolated, it feels like nothing, but it is everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
It really is.
Yeah. I know you get amazing results with your students. And maybe I'm just fishing here for help to help the students that use me. But how do you get people to understand that every single part is one piece of the giant puzzle, because a lot of times you'll find that photographers cherry pick what is either easy for them or they have the skill set to implement. So yeah, they'll be great at, let's say, for example, the funnel marketing. So they'll do that really well, but then they won't have a cohesive brand with regards to the rest of the website. So how do you beat it into them that every piece of the puzzle matters?
I mean, I don't know if I have an answer for that one, Brad. I don't know. I don't know if I don't know if I do have an
Well,
answer.
that makes me feel fantastic because I don't have an answer either. But I think that,
I mean, other than telling them, like you can only like, you got to keep telling them and telling them and telling them and telling them and telling them, and have grace along the way, and then just keep telling them. I don't know.
I think some people just feel it's very difficult to step out of their comfort zone with certain things. Like for example, albums, selling albums. So many photographers are so scared to sell albums. What would you say to people in terms of selling albums and upsells and framed images and things like that?
Yeah. So I'm going to go just, I will answer that. But of course it's hard. I think photographers, we want everything to be easy. And we want everything to be now. And of course, not you listening. That's not you, of course. But I, of course it's hard. If it wasn't, everybody would be doing it. Like it would be so easy. There's going to be challenges. That I think the thing that we need to understand is like it's worth it, because it's going to get frustrating. It's going to get difficult. And I have found that having my career as a photographer has allowed me to create the most amazing life for my family, for my clients, for myself. So it's absolutely worth it. And any other thing that I'm going to go do is also going to be hard, but it's just going to be sucky. Like the results aren't going to be as great. Like they're not guaranteed either. And there's also going to be hard things. And so I think that we get this one part of our job that gets to be the coolest thing ever, which is we just get to make art, but it doesn't mean that everything is a cakewalk, Yeah. And so I think there's a challenge with that.
But I think also that you do inadvertently attract people who are prepared to work hard. So that's why you do get the results.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what were we saying about albums here?
Oh, no, I was just talking about the mind shift of people who do a digital delivery only service, in terms of the mindset. But you answered it. Basically, you need to step out your comfort zone. It's hard. There are techniques, and it works if you implement those techniques. So you answered the question, mate.
Yeah, well, and I would say specifically about albums, stop spending your clients' money for them. Like, get your hands out of their purses. I think you believe that not you, listener, but some other photographer. We often believe that we're like virtuous by not offering our clients printed artwork. Like that somehow is like, give me a medal of honor because I didn't offer printed products. Instead, I'm going to tell you, you can't actually buy an amazing album from me. I'm not going to allow you to, because you don't actually want it. I know you don't want it because I'm unwilling to pay for it. So you shouldn't be allowed to pay for it. It's like, it's this crazy thing that we spend our clients' money for them. We think it's a virtue. I'm not here to say that you need to force it upon them, but like it would be amazing if you didn't self-sabotage, but you actually allowed people to spend money the way that they wanted to spend it. And you might be shocked at how they do it. Brett, one of my favorite examples of this is, it was my wife's birthday. This is maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I'm trying to remember. I think it was around 2020. It was my wife's birthday coming up. I'd never gotten her anything Tiffany's. I just had never done that before. Her sister always had all these damn Tiffany's boxes everywhere. Anyhow, I hadn't done it. And I wanted to give my wife something of high value. I wanted to go get her a Tiffany's necklace. And so I went into Tiffany's, and at first time walking into Tiffany's, I did not know what I was getting myself into. It's certainly just, it's not cheap. Okay. Now, maybe to some people it is, right? But for little old Ohio Ben, it wasn't inexpensive. And so I found this sterling silver necklace. It wasn't crazy. But when I went to go buy, I was so proud. I was there with my daughter. She helped me pick it out, had her birthstone on it and this key. Like, did the salesperson say, oh, sir, before you spend thousands of dollars, do you realize that this is only a sterling silver necklace, that you could go get one that looks very similar, if not identical, online or over at K Jewelers, whatever, for like half the price, if not a quarter of the price? Like, why are you spending it with me? It's like, I wanted to spend the money. Yeah. I didn't need to. No one was forcing me to. I wanted to. And the thing about people is, and this is just a cultural thing, I don't know, but a lot of times we want to show other people what we care about by the way that we spend. And I'm not saying that's right. Have your thoughts about that. It doesn't matter. But like, sometimes that's a great way for us just to communicate, if only to ourselves, to create like a monument to something. Like, man, I care so much about this. I'm not going to go get a Costco canvas. I'm going to invest with the photographer to create an actual piece of artwork that's going to go up in the home. It's going to become a lifetime purchase, something that we're going to see, we're going to celebrate, we're going to value. It's like when you actually bought yourself your first car, you took care of that shit. You're everything. When people get in it, you're like, no, get the cup out of my car. This is mine. But when it's just the one that was handed down to you, it's like the front seat's full of McDonald's. I don't know what it is, right? It's just you start treating things differently based on the investment that you've put into it. And people want their friends, their family, their loved ones, even themselves. We want to create monuments to these people. We want to spend money on the things that we love most. And so stop spending other people's money. Let them choose how to spend it. And here's the thing. If they don't spend with you, side note, they're going to go blow it on some bullshit.
Absolutely.
I'm actually giving them an opportunity to use the money to invest into what matters most to them. And if they don't want to, that's okay. I'm just giving them the choice. Okay,
mate. The way you explain it's hilarious, and it's so true. But it just paints a picture, and then it just metaphorically explains everything so simply. And I understand that I'm asking you for your knowledge in this podcast, but it just triggered something in the way that I shoot weddings. Yeah. When I'm shooting, I am always looking for opportunities to make as many albums from that wedding as possible. So I'm shooting pictures of the granny, the auntie, the cousins, so that I can create an album that is very specific to the grandmother's experience of the day. Mm. And like you said, you need to show them what they want to spend their money on. I'll go and design an album and say to the bride and the groom, I've created an album for your gran because I could see how important it was, how important the wedding was for her. And here is an album specifically designed for granny. I mean, how do they say no? And then you do one for granny, and if you've done one for the gran on the one side, you have to do for grandma on the other side. And you end up 15, 16, 17 albums from one wedding. And just because we wouldn't do that for our wedding doesn't mean that somebody else is going to, say no to that. Which brings me to my next point. In terms of when you do shoot with the album in mind and you are shooting for multiple albums, you do tend not to overshoot in terms of spray and pray, but in terms of having enough images to create a narrative for each recipient, which means I do have a lot of images to retouch. And I know that you're a big fan of AI solutions with regards to making AI work for you, but also in terms of the retouching space. You've got with Evoto specifically, what was the tipping point in terms of understanding that you needed to implement AI into your retouching? And tell us a little bit about your experience with Evoto.
Well, again, this goes back to someone's paying the price, and I think at a certain point we have more time than we do money when we're starting off, right? And so we're plugging away and we're editing, and I think it makes so much sense. I think there's a lot of There's a lot of learning that there is to be had in actually reviewing the work, editing it, cropping especially. Like if you want to learn how to become a better photographer, spend a year cropping pictures. It's like, oh, this is okay, and you just keep getting better and better at getting it right in camera, exposure as well, white balance, all that stuff, right? And so at a certain point though, like you're gonna have less time than you do resources, and this is one of the hardest business decisions to make. At least I've seen for photographers. It was not the hardest business decision for me to make, but I've seen in the photography industry, there is this period that we get to where we're just up against it all, right? We don't have enough time in the day, and we're still holding on to editing. And I get it because we're artists and so it's our craft. But if you want your business to not just grow, but honestly to survive, I really see it as a requirement. Like at some point, like you will hit the time where it is, if you want to stay, you're gonna have to let go a little bit, just a little bit. But what I found was I came from a period where, before AI editing, and I really struggled. Like that's why I know it was one of the hardest business decisions, because I really struggle with this. And so to start, I actually slowly released the reins by I had a person come to my home and edit in my living room so I could look over their shoulder and like make sure that they were doing all the right things. You know what I'm saying? That was fine. I guess I should say before I got there, I worked with a big company that I don't even do their business anymore. And they had people editing, but it was always coming back inconsistent. And so that's when I got somebody and I put him in my living room. I was like, I'm going to watch you. But even that was inconsistent. And then from there, I realized this when my sons were born. I've got twin boys, and I have a photography staff. And so my right-hand man, Ben Adams, arguably a better photographer than me, a better editor than me. I had to step away. I said, Ben, I need you to edit this last wedding. Please. Thank you. Could you help me out? He edits it, right? And I go and I look at it and I'm nitpicking through this thing, Brett. And I'm going through and I'm like, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have done that. And I'm like, oh, I'm just getting all upset. And then in this moment of me saying I wouldn't have done that, I had to stop for a second and realize, wait, of course, Ben didn't do it this way because he's not in my head. But objectively, he is better than me. He's won more awards. He gets all the weddings. Everybody wants him. And I had to just recognize that like no one is going to make the exact decisions I'm making, and no one else is going to notice. It's like truly, truly. And the cool thing about AI is that it's better than my right-hand man editing my work. It's better than someone in my living room looking over my shoulder. It is the closest that you can get to duplicating yourself, because AI is dumb in that it only knows what you teach it. It will take on your attributes. It will take on the way that you white balance and you light and edit and crop, and it'll take on all these things, and it'll just spit out only what you do without all the human error, without all the human biases. Like, oh, Ben, as talented as he is, he's got ideas about, whatever, could they Dutch tilt and so it removes all of that. It has no opinion. It has nothing except what I give it.
Yeah,
and
it's not emotionally involved.
Duplicate Ben. I think a lot of people are scared of AI. They're like, no, it's so unintelligent. I'm like, no, it is the closest you're going to get to an exact copy of you.
Yeah.
Better than any other person will ever produce results for a fraction of the price, in a fraction of the time. It just, honestly, it doesn't get, I don't know how it gets better unless you can actually duplicate yourself. That was a long-winded response about that one. But I think for the photographer who's like hesitant about AI, I'm just here to say it is a better solution than somebody else editing your work, even at the highest level.
There's my sound bite. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it is like that. And I also think that, so many photographers think I need creative control, but you're running a business, and you have to equate the loss of time and the loss of money into dollars. It has to make financial sense to run a business. Otherwise, like you said, somebody else is paying the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you still have creative control, man. It's like you have them, like you're still creating the images, and I'm not just blindly sending them out afterwards. I'm still making adjustments. I'm still going to be fine tuning a couple things. I'm still looking at what I'm delivering. And to be honest, like the real bangers, like there's going to be 10 images from every wedding that like, I'm sorry, AI, you're not looking at. I'm gonna go and have fun
Yeah.
and actually edit the pictures that I want to edit in a really great way. And then I'm going to give all the bulk stuff over. Right. And so I still get to do what I want to do. I just get to enjoy it now.
You're such a powerful educator in the industry, and the way you think is absolutely fantastic. In terms of photographers entering the market now, where do you think the biggest opportunities are, and what should photographers be focusing on instead of what they're doing now?
Yeah. I think there's a renaissance of personal connection, of face to face opportunities. I think that AI is opening up more opportunities for us to do that. What I say is AI is not going to replace you, but it's going to free you to delegate the repetitive so you can dedicate yourself to the meaningful. And I think we started off, we can go, pre 2010s, and it was personal relationships, it was connection, it was networking. We hit this kind of social media era, and everybody went to social media marketing. And in some ways, the pendulum is swinging back because now there's so much content, and it's so much dead content. To be quite honest, it's mundane. It's AI talking to AI. It's AI reading AI stuff and then creating AI stuff, and then it's just all dead. Nobody knows what's real. It has increased the value of personal connection even more than it ever was, which is crazy because it was the highest thing and now it's even more valuable. And so I say that I think there's an opportunity in connection. And so it's using AI to delegate as much as possible so you can have opportunities, more time to actually create these small one-to-one connections. I think that's where the difference gets made.
Absolutely bang on. I agree with you, and I think all the listeners will be agreeing with you as well there. In terms of you and how you are serving the photography world, because I really see it as a service. How you're serving the photography world. What are you up to in terms of your education side of things, the six-figure photography, and how do you help photographers achieve their full potential?
Yeah, thanks for asking. The great thing about me is you say like, what's next? What's next is what I've always done. I continue to just do the same thing. The next step is to do what I've always done. and so like, this is one of those things about education. Like, people are like, how do I know if I can, if this educator is worth it? I'm like, well, did they just appear in the last year? Do they have a track record? Like, what are they doing? What's the offer? I've been doing the same thing for 15 years and I'm going to continue to. And so I have a podcast. I'm going to continue to record that. And then I have one product. It is a product to help portrait photographers and wedding photographers fill their calendar up. That's the product. It's called Book Solid. I'm going to continue to do that. With it, I have a mentoring group. And so we meet every week. So every week I'm just pouring into the same group of photographers. Whoever comes and joins, I'll see you next week. And that's it, man. I'm just going to keep serving that group, and I'm going to keep helping wedding and portrait photographers. And every now and then I'll find myself on a show like yours. I'm really a simple person. I don't like going and speaking places because I just love my family too much. I just want to stay here. So like, I just joined the PTA. I don't know. You're
heading into middle age there, mate.
Yeah, they're 8 and 10. So like, I'm going to stay home and I'm going to serve the industry like I always have, and I'm not going to let up. So
I heard Simon Sinek say something the other day when he was talking about speaking to friends and asking friends, why are we friends? And the most common answer is, oh, because you're kind, because you're funny, because you're smart, and And he said you need to switch that question around. Instead of saying, well, why are we friends? Ask the other person, what is it about me that makes you want to be my friend? And Ben, without having a man crush over here, you leave people feeling inspired, mate,
Hmm.
and you leave people feeling motivated. And when you get off a webinar that you've been on, and I think that you appreciate the fact that not everyone is going to buy your product, which is still so amazing that you are so free with your knowledge, because even though some people aren't buying your products, you still motivate people and inspire people. And if I lived in Ohio and we were mates, you'd be my mate, because you're inspirational and motivational, and you make people want to be better photographers and better family people too. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I hope the first day at school went really well.
Hey, thanks, Brett. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you too, man.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Have a fantastic weekend, and we'll be in touch. Thanks, Ben.
Cheers.
Great episode there. Thank you, Ben. Please remember to use the promo code BRETT for a 15% discount on annual subscriptions and a 20% discount on pay-as-you-go credits. Until next time.